Give me what I want!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to another very special episode of the GOW. The GOW presents Over Under, and we talk about who we think are some of the most underrated and or overrated superstars in the history of pro wrestling. We also talk about managers as well, but the main synopsis is, of course, wrestlers for the day. We got a couple heavy hitters for y'all today. We got the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. We got Karrion Kross. We got one of the GOATs, Gail Kim. We got Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF, better than you. We got Britt Baker, DMD. And, of course, we got King Kong himself, Mr. King Kong Bundy. And with that being said, King, what's good?
Man, what's good with the people, man? You know, on this fine Sunday afternoon, man, we wanted to do something, make up for Thursday, but also get something done before football Sunday kicked off and nobody
Yes,
paid
sir.
nothing outside of football. But as y'all can see, man, I got the little homie with me back today, man. Little Nolan, man. What up? Say what up to the people, man. Say what up to the people. You say
What's
what up
happening? What's happening?
Say what happening. I see y'all. But all right. But other than that, man, you know, we gonna kick this thing off, man. Earl done already sent the message. He's waiting on us. He already got the write up. We tardy. That's all good. So whenever you ready, man, you throw up whoever you want to throw it, man. Let's go with it.
All right. Well, I believe since I went first last time, man, it's only right there. You know, we share the wealth. So let's pick. Ooh, damn. Well, you know what? Okay. Let's dive right into it, man. Let's dive right into it.
We got a third commentator today. Welcome, young man. Yes, sir. Ted DiBiase, man. Look here, man. It's gonna be real simple. It's gonna be real sweet. Ted DiBiase was underrated, man.
Yeah.
Because the guy could work in the ring, but his character work, as far as being that rich, arrogant millionaire that felt money could buy anything, and it did not matter. It did not matter what he could buy it. He was everything a snobby rich guy was. He made you hate him. He tried to buy everything. And yo, but as a technical wrestler, I wouldn't say he was more technical, but I would say he was a good worker. He definitely knew how to bring the heel heat. He knew how to work in the ring, man. And I think a lot of people, because he didn't usually didn't see him wrestle a lot, but when he did wrestle, he was pretty good. Him and IRS were tag team champions. I thought, you know, that was a hell of a tag team. You know, you got the IRS and the Ted DiBiase working together to take people's money and to get over on the government. But even though it was more to that than that, but overall, man, me personally, I hated him because you know he was always buying his way out of everything or taking everything. So you know that's Ted DiBiase, but as a character, for what he did in the ring and just the way he presented himself, he wasn't overrated. He was underrated. He was as great as advertised. I thought he was good. I didn't think, you know, people might have thought he was overrated because, you know, you didn't see him wrestle much, or because he tried to buy championships. He tried to buy his way into doing stuff. So people didn't really think he was that good until you actually seen him wrestle and get in the ring, and he was really that good. Like, the dude was good in the ring. So for me, Ted DiBiase is most definitely, me and Earl on the same page, most definitely underrated. And like I say, his promos, I mean, making a kid bounce a basketball and then kicking it at the last minute to not give him money, that is true asshole shit right there. And hey, man, he was top notch at it, man. So for me, Ted DiBiase, most definitely underrated, was definitely one of those dudes.
No, I mean, absolutely. I'm gonna agree with you. Ted DiBiase was one of those guys. You know better than me, but you know,
Hey, keep talking, bro. I'll be right back.
No, you good. But Ted DiBiase, it was definitely one of those guys, man, where it was kind of like he was so good at being bad, it was great. You know, definitely slept on. Definitely underrated in my opinion. In my opinion, just like you and Earl, definitely underrated. And the cool thing that came out of Ted DiBiase's run And professional wrestling was, of course, we got the $1 Million Championship, one of the most beautiful championships, to ever grace the television screens, if you will. And he's just super, very, very iconic. As we got the LCJ in the building. LCJ says he was a great wrestler, great manager too. He was a hell of a manager. I mean, if anything, I feel like, man, really, he might have been a better manager than a wrestler. But that's because he did such a great job at making you hate him. But when you look back at it now, especially as a fan of this thing, when you look back at the guys from his era, he was definitely really up there as far as just top performers. He said it might not have always been the greatest per se in the ring, but performer wise, which is what wrestling is, entertainment at the end of the day, sports entertainment, if you want to call it that, he's definitely up there in the upper echelon. So we got that. Huh?
Let's go to the next person.
All right, man. Speaking of that, man. So all right, so we got Ted DiBiase, we got the $1 Million Man. Now we're gonna transition from the $1 Million Man to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. All right. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And I'm pretty sure I'm a surprise Tuco with this.
Ooh, Britt Baker. All right.
I'm gonna be honest, dude. It's gonna hurt me. It's gonna hurt me to say this, but I'm gonna give my reasons why.
Okay.
But for right now, I gotta say, overrated.
Ooh, the DMD is overrated. Ooh, I got to hear this. This was your
okay. Now, before I say why, let me give her flowers. Let me give her credit because I am a huge fan. Me saying overrated does not deter from the fact I'm a huge fan, and I do believe she is still one of the biggest names in the business. But I got to be honest. Okay, so Britt Baker. Britt Baker was the biggest name that AEW's had in a very long time. That's on the women's division before they started, bringing in the Toni Storms, the Sheetas, the Sarayas, at one point Thunder Rosa when that was a whole thing. I get that, right? Chris Statlander, I get that. But she was big as far as name value, but that was it. When she was a face, she wasn't over at all. It was that one terrible promo that was so good it became great when they were on that Jericho cruise. She cut that promo on Tony Schiavone. And then it was kind of like people started to get behind her because of her personality. She started to play the character of a bad guy very well, of a heel very well. And then her in-ring got better. It progressed over time. But then it was like for the longest, AEW was centered solely around Britt Baker. Right. And then it was like when it was time to make other stars around Britt Baker, you really didn't get much out of it, especially when she came back after losing the championship. I feel like Britt Baker was at her highest when she was the champion because it was like, oh my God, you in the ring with Britt Baker. Like, that's such a big name, marquee matchup. But then, like, once she lost the championship, and I understand she's been hurt too, but what really great matches has she had since she lost the championship? What great rivalries or memories has she had since she lost the championship? You, as the top woman at the time of AEW, who have you made greater since you lost the championship? See, they say in professional wrestling, either the person makes the title or the title makes the person. And I feel like the title made Britt Baker. I don't feel like in retrospect, Britt Baker made the title. And when you look at some of her matches she's had, bro, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I can't say that she has lived up to the hype in ring since losing that women's world title. I feel like she needs that title to feel important or feel as big as she once did. Uh-oh, bro. Yo, your mic muted. Bro, your mic muted.
Britt Baker's undermuted. Yeah, you so disrespectful, man. Britt Baker's underrated, man. Dude, first and foremost, yes, I will agree. Her first initial run in AEW, It wasn't so much it was her in ring, it was the character. But you also have to take into account they only had 3 good wrestlers.
Mhm.
So there's a lot that played into that first year run. Now, yeah, we had to, the whole happy-go-lucky Britt Baker wasn't really it. And obviously, at that moment in time, a lot of the people that were coming in, Nyla Rose, and then you had not EO, what's the
Sheeta.
not Sheeta, no, the original, the first AEW.
Oh, you're talking about
Uh,
damn.
uh,
The real tiny girl. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah, 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 her. Like I see, to me, I feel like Britt should have been, and I said this from the beginning. I said she should have been the inaugural women's champion. Like you could have had her build up a nice little heel, and you could have had her and have a nice little run, put on some good matches with people. But the problem was the AEW didn't have enough women, so that's not necessarily her fault for not really making it what it was, because we kept saying that. We said, man, if AEW had a few more females that were solid in the ring to really kind of give that, give her that someone that she could really bounce off of, because a lot of people she was in the ring with, she was better than them, or they weren't really all there, unless it was Nyla Rose. Uh, but it wasn't like they were fighting a lot. And once Britt Baker cut that promo on the cruise, yeah, we started to see the heel work, and we were liking the heel work. But again, we needed to see more legit women. We need not so much as like legit in name, but just legit in ring. So
Yeah.
I can't necessarily fault Britt Baker for the slow start of the women's division because of what they had to work with. We
Yeah.
all know Vince was ciphering up all the women talent, and he wasn't letting people go until he was ready to let them go. And we said, let some of them people go, and then let's see what happens when they come to this company. And we
Right,
saw
right.
that. We got to see that. So I can't put that on Britt. Now, Britt Baker being the champion obviously was her best run. Character wise, in ring wise, she didn't have the talent that she has now. Unfortunately, the talent that came after she lost is what was more of a telling thing, because we got everybody showing up after she didn't already had her initial run, and then you kind of had somebody that can beat her. Okay, cool. Who was it? Sheeta, I think it was beat her. I think it was Sheeta that beat her. But as far as in ring, I think Britt Baker's in ring is one of the best. Is there someone else that can what's up, little homie? You back? You back? Come here, little homie. You back?
Say it wasn't you.
Yeah, say it wasn't you. That was the other doggy. It's okay. You back. We come back. You come back with the homies. But yeah, so I think that Britt Baker overall was a good wrestler. Now, and as far as her promos, her in ring, there was nothing to be complaining about that. She could talk on the mic, and once you kind of got that bad bitch vibe from her, it was on and popping. Now, after she lost the championship, obviously we found more out about her back issues, which I
Yeah.
think is a big hinder to why a lot of her matches have been lackluster lately. Like she hasn't been moving with that same crispiness that she was moving when it was her and Thunder Rosa. Thunder
Right,
Rosa,
right,
that's
right.
what it was. Thunder Rosa that beat her. When her and Thunder Rosa was going back and forth, dude, we were loving it. We were
Yeah,
praising
yeah.
everything
Facts.
about it. So the fact that, but again, we knew she's dealing with a tough injury. Your back is most important to you when you move, how much you move, and we can see it in a lot of her matches and just her her movement. It was not the best. So I'm not going to down her because of injury, especially when she's been one of the main women and she's had to deal with some injuries. So it kind of stalled out because she had the ankle injury because she was sitting in the little protected booth with a Rebel.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily on her. It wasn't all her. It was she did what she could, but unfortunately, timing was the issue. Now,
Yeah.
when you look at the women's division now, when you look at who's there now, you're thinking, okay, this is perfect for Britt Baker, and it is. But obviously, she's still dealing with the back injury, and also, what's the story for her right now?
Right,
Like she's kind of had her little story with Jamie Hayter, but Hayter's got hurt. She wasn't 100%, but you have all these other women that you could do so much more with, and it shouldn't just be focused around Britt Baker. Like that's the one thing where where WWE we always felt like Charlotte is involved in everything. And sometimes we hate that. Where here, Britt Baker's not involved in everything. It's actually other people doing their own thing. But when she comes back, we're going to appreciate it. And we hope that she comes back healthy. We hope that she can come back to be that DMD that we all know and love and want to see go up against this talent that they have now.
Right,
So
right.
for me personally, I'm not saying she's the greatest. I think she's a good in-ring worker. She can definitely work in the ring when 100% healthy. She's definitely good on the microphone. I mean, I gotta give Britt Baker underrated, man. I don't think she's overrated. I'm not. I can see why some people may say underrated, overrated, or whatever, because y'all think she's a carbon copy of Charlotte Flair, which people don't want to give Charlotte her flowers. But I feel like, man, she holds her own. Like, she's, for somebody who's I didn't know much of, who's a dentist, who I didn't know much was doing too much wrestling. She's not bad in the ring, man. I've seen worse. I've seen people who are pushed to the top that's worse than her. So I got to say Britt's underrated, and I can't fault her totally because of injuries and lack of talent. I can't fault her for that. She was the best thing in the company. Once y'all got more people, that's when all that other stuff came. But Champ says overrated is the only correct answer. Hey, maybe so, man, for y'all, but for me, Britt ain't overrated.
And again, going back to what I said, like I said, again, huge fan. Like, everybody know me. Every time she come out, do the finger point, DMD. Love Britt Baker. So again, that doesn't change for me. And I do feel like she's a very integral part of the company and one of the biggest pieces of the company. I feel like Britt Baker was to leave or get signed somewhere else. That'd be a huge blow, not only to the women's division of AEW, but to AEW in general, because again, she's such a huge name. And again, like I said, she's very good in the ring. I was just saying, and like you said, to a degree too, there was a little bit of lack of talent, but I was saying, like, compared to her first initial in and then now, I can see where the frustration comes in. But again, like I said, still love Britt Baker, but that was that. I said it's going to be controversial, but
it's controversial, man. It's controversial, but like I said, man, I get what you're saying because you're not totally wrong, but at the same time, it's like, bro, it's like, how much do y'all expect this woman to do? Like, we know she was dealing with back issues, and when she did lose the championship, they wanted her to be involved with other people. But then again, that was also TK's push stop with the women's division. So it's like a lot of that things that we wanted to see, we weren't getting it, but we weren't getting it because of her. We were getting it because of the decision making. So it's like but I also see where the overrated comes from in some aspects. But I feel like she teeters. I feel like Britt teeters from time to time. Like, she could teeter from overrated to underrated. Because if she comes back and have a great run, are we gonna still feel like she's overrated? Are we gonna give her props in what she does if she comes back to be that boss bitch that she was before? And I feel like she can be that, given the time to heal up, be healthy, and given a good rivalry like she did with Thunder Rosa. With Thunder Rosa, man, I wasn't hearing none of this underrated, overrated shit. We was giving her flowers because we knew what we were getting. So
absolutely,
and
she had that badass match with Abaddon too.
Yeah, most definitely. So we need to get that too.
All right, man. Before we get out of here, I got to show Britt Baker some love.
Dr. Britt Baker.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we did Britt. We did the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Okay. Who else we got?
Man, bring up a random.
Yeah, let's see.
Overrated. Overrated. Oh, I'm already saying overrated. This is your guy, but go ahead,
bro. No, I'm gonna say overrated, and I'm gonna say this. Okay, bro. Here's where accountability comes in. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
We put so much blame on Vincent Kennedy McMahon and the fucking Gimp suit. We put so much blame on Vinnie Mac. And at the time, rightfully so. But now I'm starting to truly and honestly believe, and this has been circulating on social media for years now, what Adam Cole said, and I'm going to reference it, about the lights and the girl and the entrance and everything like that. And now am I going to disregard some of the bangers that Karrion Kross has had in the past? No. Am I going to disregard some of the huge feuds he's been involved in? No. Well, bro, that has been years removed now. And again, I do agree to a degree. You could say, even on this current run back, you could say the booking. But he's had more than enough matches. He's had more than enough promos and vignettes to get the crowd behind him. A lot of people say it could be the hair. It could be the whole cop-looking vibe he's giving. I don't know. Bro, I ain't going to lie to you. I think if you strip away the entrance, you strip away Scarlett, you don't have anything right now in Karrion Kross, at least not in WWE. At least not in WWE. And it hurts me to say this because I wanted to blame Vince so bad for Vince being the sole reason or the main reason that Karrion Kross, his stock has plummeted. But bro, Triple H brought you back almost 2 years ago now, and you still ain't done shit to convince the people. What are your thoughts?
Well, it is Vince's fault. And that's the reason why his stock hasn't risen, because no one can forget what we saw. We watched the dude be a legit badass in NXT, and then we watched him come up to the main roster, and he lost in the stupidest way to Jeff Hardy. Like he should have, like if he was going to lose that match, he should have lost the match due to disqualification from beating the shit out of Jeff Hardy. That's how you build a monster heel. Karrion Kross should not have been brought up because let's be real, Vince did not give a shit about NXT. He didn't care about none of the people. He didn't care about how they were presented, and we saw that when he brought up DIY. He did not give a damn about how this guy was being presented. Now, I already said Karrion Kross is overrated, but his NXT run was good enough as far as being that monster kind of heel. He didn't need to be too crazy. He was powerful. He was hard hitting, and he was trying to hurt you and beat you. It was nothing else pretty about what he does. Him getting to the main roster was a joke because he came out in that gimp suit and he wasn't winning. It's not like was letting him win. He kept losing. Matter of fact, I think he lost like 2-3 times before he actually won a match. And it's like, bro, you stripped away that legitimacy of that badass that he could have been. And I'm not saying he would have been great or what he could have did in the ring, but just the thought of him looking like a monster champion, you discredit that. And then you got rid of him, and then he left and went and did his own thing. And he tried to continue being that guy, try to be that guy that was Karrion Kross before the gimp suit. And it seemed to work for him on the independent. But when he got back to WWE, people remembered who he was. People remembered that first run. And I feel like it never lifted off of him. Like I feel like that just carried over. So when he did come back, and then he started losing again. And it was like, bro, it's like, okay, now you're this badass. You're supposed to be different. You got your girl back. You got the entrance. You're still missing something. You're missing that believability that we needed to have. And honestly, man, it never manifested for him. So yeah, I don't think he's all that great. I think there could have been something. He could have had something, but it never worked for him in WWE. And I can understand Triple H wanting to bring people back, but unfortunately, him, Hit Roll, quite a few other people, like the heel run in NXT was underrated, but his main roster run, it hasn't worked for him, and it's people we just cannot let go of that gimp suit. We can't buy in, and even when he came back, he wasn't doing much. Like he had one good match with what was that, with Drew McIntyre, and then he lost, and then he lost, and then he lost, and it's like then he won and then he lost. So it's like, bro, I don't know, but Earl says, man, Kross is highly underrated. I said it before, his character requires a darker persona, which I felt was great for NXT. That's why I said I think his NXT run was great. He should be,
especially with a smaller crowd, and then the way the lighting and everything, it just really that aura,
Earl says he should be booked along the lines of Undertaker and Bray. He isn't being allowed to do his thing while having to take all in the L's. In my eyes, it's the L's that's made his character not worth a damn. It's the L's in that gimp suit. Again, man, we were pissed off when Jeff Hardy beat him. We're like, dude, why does Jeff Hardy just come out and beat this guy? Jeff Hardy ain't doing nothing important. Hell, Jeff Hardy just came back from a DUI. He ain't finna do nothing important. Like you punished Karrion Kross when you should have had him come out and just slaughter Jeff Hardy. He should have just beat the crap out of Jeff Hardy and walked away. That would have made him look more legit. Even if you want to say he's not that great in ring, that feel would have been different for him. And I don't think people would have been so quick to dismiss him. So I agree with what Earl is saying, but I feel like everything we've gotten since then has been overrated. He's not the guy that we knew him to be in NXT, because even in NXT, when he was fighting Keith Lee, when he's fighting Adam Cole, when he's fighting Finn Balor, like, dude, man, he was putting on good matches. He was handling his business. He was looking like the badass that he is. And since he's been back, man, we haven't gotten that.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I agree. And again, like I said, man, I'm not gonna disregard his run previously either. But right now, definitely had to give our thoughts. But I do want to see what they do with him. Because I do feel like if given the proper push, if given the proper presentation, he can have a major run. You just we've seen people come out of nowhere, right? We've seen
Mhm.
Sami Zayn look like he got relegated to being a joke and then has come back and become the face of the company for a brief moment in time. Hell, at one point in time, people thought he was gonna be Roman Reigns. You wouldn't have thought that a year and a half ago when he's at WrestleMania wrestling fucking Johnny Knoxville. So no, trust me, things could turn
Wow.
around on a dime. Things could
They
definitely
can.
turn
They
around on a
can.
dime.
Oh, they most definitely can, man. But for him, it's been long enough, and it's just not what it is, man. It's just not what it is. Earl says, too cold. Don't give me that spiel about the suit when you have a guy like Cody being pushed who did the same BS. Yeah, but here's the thing about that, Earl. We all knew the Stardust thing was trash because we all thought the broken, the arrogant Cody Rhodes, you know what I'm saying? That was the Cody Rhodes we wanted. The one that was coming out looking at himself in the mirror, like what was the mustache, Cody was different and Cody left for that, but Cody left, did the independent thing and came back bigger. Like even regardless if you still feel Cody is another, his character, his presence, everything was bigger. He was basically a household name that people were putting their investments behind. No one
Yeah.
is doing that for Cross. No one did that for Cross. Cross ain't put himself in that percentage. Now you can say, well, Cody has a legendary name attached to him, which is very true. Which is very true. So that's obviously a big push for Cody. But bruh, Cody has come back to be a top tier guy. People are cheering for Cody. Cody is having high merchandise sales. Cross has not done any of that. He left, he had a moment, but unfortunately, even though people know that Cody was Stardust, we knew it was a joke, and he talks about it being a joke, which is why I think that helps him. Cross, on the other hand, you're trying to just make us forget what this guy was, and we know we already saw it, and he's not doing anything to make it different. But Earl, like I said, man, I feel like his first run was underrated, but everything else is overrated, man. I'm not seeing anything, and even now, what he's been doing recently, I'm not seeing it whatsoever. And of course, the chant says, "Man, rest in peace, Chandler, Matthew Perry." Yeah, that was kind of that came out of kind of nowhere, man. One of the friends star died the other day, but Booking is more to blame for Cross than anything else. I mean, I've gave Booking the problem. That's why I say, man, I feel like Vince killed his character, and even him trying to come back. But when he came back, they weren't really putting him in a position to really do too much at all. Like, I mean, who is he fighting with? He wasn't really fighting with anybody. He fought Drew McIntyre and lost, and then he fought Drew McIntyre again and lost. So it's like, dude, how the hell are you this badass? You come back and you lose. You're losing. And it's like after those losses, it's like he just never came up. The character, the promos, none of it is just not sticking with the people.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, we will see, but I think maybe like you said, maybe if he addressed that whole situation when he first got back, maybe it's like, okay, cool. Like he maybe cut a promo on the whole gimp suit thing, and then all right, now we can move forward. But again, it's kind of like, yeah, we're gonna flash you like you. Nah, not today, buddy.
But they got but like Earl says, Booker is more of the blame, which is why I feel like. But that's kind of like, remember I said what you say about one thing could be said about another. You can say the same thing about Britt Baker. Booking was
Yeah.
part of the issue, but still there was things that she did to overlook that bad booking. He hasn't done anything to me to overlook the bad booking. If he was to figure that out, then I think it would be more of a closer to an underrated than overrated. But right now, it's sticking at overrated.
Facts, big facts, big facts. All right, so we go for Karrion Cross to oh,
We ain't got but so many. What we got?
all right. You know what? I want. Okay, 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 okay. MJF.
Oh, Okay. Little homie that fell asleep on me. You go ahead and start talking. I'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Maxwell Jacob Freeman. He is now your longest reigning AEW World Champion in history, on the road to 365 days, baby. I am going to say MJF is underrated. I'm gonna say MJF is underrated, and this is why I say MJF is underrated. Have I been critical of MJF in the past? 100%, absolutely. Did I feel like his gimmick was getting stale? Absolutely. I feel like, there was only so far he could have gone being the super duper obnoxious, obscene, overly just vulgar asshole, right? I feel like at a certain point it went from that being legitimately a shoot or a play on who MJF was in real life to a point to where it became okay. He saw that it was getting reaction to the fans online, and I feel like at times he just kind of took it too far and just went a little too overboard and tried a little too hard to be that guy that we all, fell in love with, which is everybody's favorite scumbag, everybody's favorite asshole, MJF. I feel like this whole thing with him and Adam Cole, where you started to see more of, I guess, I wouldn't say a face side of MJF, but face-like qualities, or you see, okay, this guy really can't be more than just, bitching and complaining and moaning and whining and just cussing at people and dogging out his boss. I feel like when he showed a little bit of a different side of him, a little bit of more vulnerability, I feel like you start to see a little bit more of a dynamic to his character. So, okay, now I see what MJF could be as a super ultra asshole. I see what the potential could be with him as a baby face and a legit face of the company. I see what it could be like with him being a leader of a company, and he's actually been putting out quality matches as of late. MJF, his first 2.5, 3 years, he was very, very much protected. You didn't really see him wrestling as much during the week. You didn't see him wrestling on Dynamite. You would have seen him wrestle and put a title on the line during a fucking weekly television show. And now look at it. He had one of the best matches of the year against Kenny Omega, on a random AEW Collision. And that's against college football. That's against the World Series. And, we talk about MJF being a little bland in the ring, right? And then he goes out and he shows you he can do the flips. He can do the high flying shit. He can do all the shit that we love to see. He just chooses not to. And I feel like when you got somebody that can go in the ring and can do things and choose not to do them and do them when he wants to and not rely on them and still get over with the crowd, you got to respect that. Now, I know a lot of people, we've said that, he's a more PG-14 version of The Miz, which I hold on to that part.
No. The Miz is the PG version of MJF.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, reversed it. Which, I feel like on the mic that may be true, but I feel like at the same time, I feel like MJF's in-ring backs up what he says on the mic. And I can't sit up here and say I feel like MJF is overrated. You would have asked me this maybe 7-8 months ago when I feel like he was getting stale. Sure, when he first won the title, maybe, because I feel like, all right, now they're just going to put the title on this man and have him hold it just because they don't want his ass to leave AEW. But now you got this man out here doing press conferences, you got doing interviews, and he's legitimately putting over the company, and he's actually acting like a champion. It's the difference between saying, oh, I'm the best, I should have this. There's another thing when you say, I am the best, I should, and then you actually go out there and do. So with that, I'm going to sit there and say, as where it sits with me right now, I don't think MJF gets enough love, especially from the internet community,
man. No, in the beginning he didn't. He was overrated. I can't disregard that. He was overrated because he was a guy that was talking a lot but wasn't doing much in the ring. Yeah. We weren't seeing much from MJF. He wasn't doing anything to make us feel like, oh man, this guy is good in the ring. He was just some young punk that was talking a bunch of shit that really wasn't really manifesting it too much because again, he wasn't doing it. Earl says MJF is actually rated where he should be, and I'm guessing that's what in underrated. I mean, now I would say underrated because I think now he's got the time, he's got the he's taking the time to really work on his craft. Now his shit talking is always been there, but again, it's always been his in ring. It's always been the other person that made him look good. Uh, and it was like because when you think about the match he had with Darby Allin, it was like man, that was more Darby Allin, kind of just making MJF look good. Not to say that he wasn't trying, not to say that he wasn't trying to put into that work, but it took a minute, man. Like I wasn't really buying into MJF and what he was again. And when I looked at MJF, I said, man, he's just a Kmart version of I'm saying he's the dollar store general version of the Miz. Like if the Miz could say some of the stuff that MJF was saying, the Miz would, and we've seen what the Miz could do when allowed to be that kind of smart talking badass dude, not the joke that he's normally is, but for MJF, over time he went from overrated to underrated because he had because again we were starting to see more matches, we were starting to see his promos were getting better, the effect of what he was doing was having an impact, and you saw not only just his body change, as far as how he looked and how he presented himself, but everything that he was starting to do. He was starting to have better matches. He was starting to show more in the ring. So you saw his growth. You saw everything about him that could be that you think, man, if he worked on this, he would be better. And he worked on all those things. And now he's where he's at. But he's also made himself one of the most over heels, and not overrated, but most over heels.
Yeah.
With just the way that he shoots from the hip, as we like to say, when you're breaking that fourth wall, that's something that he does really well. So right now, I would say MJF did start overrated. He started overrated, but I think now he's definitely become underrated, man. He's definitely one of those dudes. WWE is definitely going to reach out to try to get him. So let's not pretend like they won't. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he ever goes or not, man. I think honestly he could do a few more years in AEW and then go to WWE.
Oh yeah. All right, man. We winding down to our final two, bro. It is the last of the Mohican. All right, we had her on the show. One of the greatest women in the ring, bro. One of my favorite guests personally. We got that girl herself, Gail Kim, my boy. This is your pick. I'm gonna let you go first. I think we both gonna agree, but hey, don't want to assume.
She's not underrated. She was underappreciated. Gail Kim came in at a time where the top women in WWE were kind of gone.
Yeah.
You had the Trish's and them that weren't there as much. Lita, I think, was hurt dealing with what she was dealing with. And they were transitioning to the Divas era.
Yeah.
When you looked at women that could actually be a presence, wrestle in the ring, kind of hold their own, she was one of those few women. Gail Kim was somebody that a lot of people wanted to see WWE do more with. And they didn't want to. They wanted to push the blonde bimbos and ditzy broads to be more legit.
Good God, say what you really will.
I'm saying what I mean, man, because that's what the Diva era was, man. It was not to say that some people did not come out of it. I think when you take it the Diva era, there may be 3 to 4 women that truly came out of that era that was really good. And then everybody else was they were just pretty girls that Vince wanted to show and just objectify. There was nothing more about the Divas era. Now, when we look at Gail Kim leaving and going to Impact and seeing the impact that she had there, as Earl says, Gail is overrated. Ooh, I got to hear it from you. I got to hear it from you. Her and Awesome Khan made the Knockouts division. When you really look at Impact and just what they were doing, because they were doing matches you didn't see women doing. So that helped put them over. And I think she can go in the ring with anybody. And she's proven she can wrestle with anybody in the ring. I just feel like WWE did not want to promote her in that light. They didn't want her to really win a lot. Even though she did win, she did have a title run. She could do some stuff, but it was like y'all were choosing not to use her. And it's like y'all could have done it, but Champ says tough one. Too many people will only remember her WWE run and not the rest of her career. She's done a lot behind the scenes to contribute more to wrestling than what she did in the ring. And then she has, but she also helped, like I said, what Impact's women's division is, it is on the backs and blood and sweat of Gail Kim and Awesome Kong and a handful of other women. But I can't say that she was terrible in the ring. She was never terrible in the ring. Her character, and you can question the character, I guess, from time to time. But again, I WWE wise, sure. Impact wise, there was no question it. You knew she was a badass. You knew she would go out there and do whatever. And I wish that there was the level of women was more around for her. Because I feel like she got a bad rep. If WWE had gave a damn, she could have been one of the top Asian, wrestlers there. But for me, Gail was underrated, man, because I liked the Gail. I knew what she could do in the ring. Promo is promo. Some people could be good promo people, but some people would they were better wrestlers than they were promos. Earl says, man, I will pay to see Gail wrestle. Yes. Would I spend the last dollar to see her in ring? No. Okay, Earl, I kind of get that. But she's somebody you would want to see, but it's like that Hall of Fame type person. Well, she is a Hall of Fame type person, but I get what you're saying. Like if it was Trish, like, oh my God, Trish finally came back, which she did, we would all go pay to see Trish because like, oh my God, it's Trish. Or someone of a higher caliber or whatnot. But for Gail, I feel like part of her run was hindered because of the politicking of WWE. And when she got the Impact, it's when she got the Impact that the respect was being put on her name as far as what she can do in that ring. So I felt like she does kind of teeter on it for some people, but looking at what she did, what she was able to do, and then when she left and went to another company, what she was allowed to do, and how much impact she truly, not pun intended, but how much impact she truly had on that whole division. Again, when we were looking at the knockout division, we were like, man, what is it about this knockouts division that we like? And we're liking the way these women are being presented. We're liking the way that these women are actually going out here and wrestling and beating the shit out of each other. They're not here having little slap fights and pulling hair and all this other shit we're watching on WWE, man. We're actually seeing these women punch and beat the hell out of each other. I like that, man. I want to see more of that. So they've always had a heading in that, and that started because of her and Awesome Kong too. But Gail Kim definitely was a big part of that.
No, you know what? I'm actually going to. I was going to say underrated, but now that when you say underappreciated, I think that was more of the what I was looking for, underappreciated. And I will say this: I have been very open and very honest. When Gail Kim was first in WWE, I did not really see the appeal of Gail Kim. It just like there's just certain people like Sheamus. For years, I did not see the appeal of Sheamus. Now, one will look at Sheamus and be like, bro, like, are you serious? Yeah, now having seen Sheamus in the ring for over 10, 15 years, and me being a true student of this game that we call pro wrestling, yes, you have to look at Sheamus and put him in the GOAT conversation. But even to this day, Sheamus isn't someone like, oh, like, that's my favorite or one of my favorites. But I respect him. I know he's good. Gail Kim at the time when she was first in WWE, I really didn't see the appeal per se that first go around. I didn't. And again, it could be just the way she was presented, right? It could be just that whole era. But then again, like you say, I was also a huge fan of TNA, huge fan of Impact. And you got to see her, like you say, when you say her, Mickie James, to me, I feel like people like Mickie James and Kurt Angle, even though they've had pretty good Hall of Fame worthy careers in WWE, if you ask me, their best years was in TNA. It was just a different vibe, a different version. I feel like with Gail Kim, like you say, man, when she got to TNA, and you really seen them being presented equally as far as how the matches were, matches laid out, opportunities. I feel like that was the closest thing to the equal playing field as men. And to me, that's what really made me like, okay, now you get to see Gail Kim in a different light. So yeah, bro, I would definitely say, I wouldn't say underrated. I would definitely say underappreciated, because even like Earl said, you got people that would definitely pay to see her wrestle because they know she is the truth. But then there's just those other intangibles, like, okay, would you spend your last? Maybe, maybe not. But no, definitely underappreciated.
Man, you telling me bro, Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, or Gail Kim versus a Trish Stratus, or Gail Kim versus, bro, I'm watching it. I'm watching it.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't watch it. But Earl being real slick, thinking, oh man, if you rank women wrestlers 1 through 20, I bet Gail wouldn't make the list even as
whoa.
That right there, Earl, is blasphemous, because she's most definitely making the top 20. Gail Kim's making the top 20. You're gonna make us do an episode, Earl. You gonna see you think you slick, Earl. So you say shit, and you know we just can't let that slide. So you know we're gonna end up doing something like that, man. Even though we did it already, but I think we're gonna have to revamp that anyway, because we've got quite a few extra people. But man, Gail Kim would make the top 20. And we're not just sticking it to WWE, we're sticking it to just women in wrestling, period. She's gonna make the top 20. We got to give some consideration to some old school people, but I'm not putting managers in that position. I'm looking at the women wrestlers. We can only go so far back, all the way up until now. So Gail Kim is definitely gonna make that top 20. I can guarantee you that. I'm not gonna tell you she's in the top 10, but she's definitely gonna be within that top 20. That's for damn sure.
All right. So we go from one legend to another. Bro, we pride ourselves on being, a voice of the people,
right,
champs, if you will.
Right.
The people have asked for it. Ask and ye shall receive, because the GOW is real talk for real fans. We got that boy, that man, King Kong Bundy.
We all right, Earl. You up, Earl. You asked for it, man. We put him on here, man. I said, I got you, man. Champ, we got you. You give us who you want, Champ. We're gonna go with that one. All right, man. Look, King Kong Bundy, man. King Kong Bundy. King Kong Bundy is overrated, man. I want to see that top 20 women. You got it, Earl. Don't worry. We're gonna give it to you. King Kong Bundy is overrated. I think as far as, to me, I feel like he was underrated, because I felt like when you have a guy like Andre the Giant, everyone else don't mean anything. Penelope, what's up, man? The picture of Piper. That's not. Good afternoon to you, Penelope. Man, to me, King Kong Bundy, and I'm gonna try to be fair about this, never really a big fan of him. There wasn't really much about him other than just being a big dude who looked like a bald-headed, smaller version of Andre the Giant. And to me, I like the only appeal, or the most he ever did, was when he fought Hulk Hogan. Outside of that, man, there really wasn't much to King Kong Bundy, man. He was a big dude. He squashed people in a few seconds, but it really wasn't much appeal to it. Now, Earl, this is where I want you to. I need you to speak it up, man, because you asked for it, so we giving it to you. I just didn't feel like King Kong Bundy was that dude. Not compared to when I look at a Bam Bam Bigelow, when I look at a Big Bad Vader, when I look at some of these other guys, I put them way over than King Kong Bundy. So I'm gonna need you, because, and again, even Champ said, man, the biggest thing that he ever did was the match with Hogan, and then that was kind of it, man. He really wasn't much anything else in ring, story wise. There was really nothing else about him. But Earl says, man, extremely underrated for his size. That man could get in the ring and move with anybody. Okay, man, I don't know if he can move with everybody, but I've seen other guys be as big and move better. But Champ says overrated, solid worker, but after his program and Mania match with Hogan, not much else. He rode that momentum the rest of his career. And to me, I feel like that was the highlight of him. There was nothing before it or after it that came from that. And Hogan was just another guy that beat up another big man after he didn't body slam Andre. King Kong Bundy was just another big dude for Hogan. I didn't really see him really being impactful doing anything else. Champ says he had decent promos, but nothing special in the ring. He was in a faction. He complimented the faction, but not a standout. There's a reason Vince never paid him what he wanted, and his way out. I mean, true. That could have been, that could have factored to a few other things, but I really, really did not see much of King Kong Bundy. Like I said, I like big men that can move. That's why I say I mentioned Bam Bam Bigelow. I mentioned Big Bad Vader because, man, Vader, they were just something different. They were big men that can squash you, but man, the things that they were doing in the ring, I felt were leaps and bounds to what King Kong Bundy was.
No, absolutely. And my thing is, again, if you would have gave me Big Van Vader, of course, King Kong Bundy, it's you like one of them thumbs.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's just me, man. And it's not to say that I want to hate on my old school because, I grew up with King Kong Bundy and all these other guys, so they were there. Tell me you forgot it. Big Bundy versus Big John Studd. Tell me you just forgot about that. It was. I didn't forget about it. It just didn't.
It didn't move the needle for you.
It didn't, man. And maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and watch it again just to maybe see it again. But for me, it didn't really. It wasn't really. Yeah, he just didn't do it for me, Earl. Man, he just did not do it. And not just like I said, not to say that I didn't see enough of him do some stuff, but it's like, it's just King Kong Bundy. I'm not impressed. Like, all right, who else is next? Who else is wrestling? Now, if he was wrestling somebody I liked, that's different. But even then, it's like, he just didn't do enough for me. He just didn't do enough for me. But he is who he is. And like some wrestlers, he had an impact on people. I can mention Coco Beware and Hacksaw Jim Duggan and a whole bunch of folks, and they were solid. Some people say that they were overrated or underrated, or they weren't big fans of them, but than what they were.
Oh, sorry. You froze up for a second. But nah, dude. Look, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't think anybody had us going 52 minutes on their bingo card for the day, but we had to talk to the people. We had to give y'all what y'all wanted.
No doubt about that. Earl says, man, taking into consideration that that time in wrestling, Vince didn't use him because he was more on pushing Andre. And I said that. I said that. I gave you credit. I gave that credit. Like, yeah, having an Andre the Giant really didn't do him no favors. Hell, if you want to talk about Typhoon or Earthquake or it's like, bro, it's like now it's like they kind of all were in that same boat, man. You got this dude, big, you got this big dude that's just larger than life, and then you got all these many big dudes that just kind of seem like carbon copies, and maybe that was a disadvantage for them, so it did kind of take away from them. But I just feel like that Bundy overall, okay, I'll give him the John Studd match, I'll give him the Hogan thing, but it's like, what were you before or after that? And to me, it's just, regardless if it was issues with him and Vince not wanting to push him, or like you say, because Vince was pushing Andre, I don't know, but I just feel like man, the King, there was just something lacking there with him to make me feel like he was underappreciated. And maybe he was another wrestler that was underappreciated, because there's a lot of wrestlers that were underappreciated. I will say that, but overall for me right now, man, it's an overrated. But we can revisit this at another time and day, when we want to, maybe focus more on the old school and give them more of a proper respect.
No, for sure. But look, this is episode 2 of the GOW Presents the Over and Under, and I must say, man, this is very rapidly becoming one of my favorite shows to do with y'all motherfuckers. Man, I appreciate it. I like this. I like being able to shoot your shit. Hey, y'all. All right, so we already got King Kong Bundy out the way. Earl, that was you. Penelope, LCJ, man, send in y'all picks. We definitely gonna get y'all in for the next show or shows. And yeah, man. So yes, make sure, man, every single week, send in y'all picks. We're gonna pick one. We're gonna pick one from somebody to add in with ours, man. So
right. Most definitely. We appreciate y'all showing up and talking to talk with us, man, as always, man. Like I said, man, we filling this thing out. We're gonna add some more names. We gonna try to mix the names up of some nouns, some people back in the past. We're gonna try to bring you up everybody, man. But I think now we really need to hit the core of this. We 2 shows in, like my guy said, man. So we're gonna come at y'all with some real names next time, man. I'm not saying we ain't coming at y'all with some real names, but we definitely gonna have some names we really gonna have to sit and debate about, man. And I know we're gonna go back and forth on quite a few of them, because I've already got a few names I'm already thinking about that I want to talk about and just kind of bring up. But no, man, I like this. We can find out, what we really think about some people, get a better understanding. And everybody's opinion was most definitely appreciated and well respected. So we appreciate y'all for that. And hey, man, we all agreed on some and we disagreed on others. And that's the whole point. Hey, man, just to kind of figure it out. But it's giving me an idea. It's definitely waking my eyes to when we have our other shows, and when we see certain people and y'all get the crapping on them or y'all get the praising them. And it's like, man, why? And it's like, you know what? So I'm loving this. I'm loving this here. Definitely can't wait to do another one on Thursday. We will do another one on Thursday. We got a double show for y'all Thursday because we got to give y'all that prediction show for Crown Jewel. And then we also got to give you a new under and over. So, make sure you submit your names on who you might want to, to talk about. And then we'll go from there. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all for hanging out with us on this Sunday afternoon. A rarity where we're both off in the middle of the day. We'll see y'all tomorrow for the Monday night block party, and of course Wednesday, and of course Thursday, Friday, as always. And then we'll be live from the West Side Compound, man, for that Crown Jewel. So make sure y'all set y'all notifications. As long as Facebook is acting right, we'll always be streaming and doing what we do. Bro, any final thoughts before we go?
Man, let's see. Earl said something, thinking this is the perfect time slot to plan over under on a weekly. Hey, look.
Well, the only thing is, we have to get the time off to do it.
Yeah.
We don't have set work days. So, and right now we're in the middle of season. So, it won't always work this way. We'll definitely try to do some more weekend shows like this, just to kind of give the people a little bit more opportunity. We had an opportunity to do an early show today, so we took that opportunity.
Man, come on, we gave y'all an hour and y'all still got the rest of y'all day.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't think it's like that. I think it's just what Earl is saying. Like, this was just a good way of midday, just kind of get people, involved. In which he's not wrong, but we won't be able to do daytime shows every time. So sometimes we'll have to do them when we do, but we'll try to do it when we know, folks aren't the busiest, and y'all want to talk with the people, man, for sure.
Absolutely. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, enjoy your football Sunday. And with that being said,
bye-bye, bitch.